and go now to the city of slaughter. Into its courtyard, wind thy way. There with thine own hand touch, and with eyes of thine own head behold, on tree, on stone, on fence, on mural clay, the spattered blood and dried brains of the dead. Proceed thence to the ruin, the split walls reach, where wider the hollow and greater the breach.
Pass over the shattered hearth, attain the broken wall, those burnt, barren brick, whose charred stones reveal the open mouths of such wounds that no mending shall ever mend, nor healing ever heal. There will thy feet and feathers sink and stumble on wreckage doubly wrecked, scroll heaped on manuscript, fragments again fragmented. Pause not upon this havoc. Go thy way.
Unto the Attic mount, upon thy feet and hands, behold, the shadow of death among the shadows stands. Crushed in their shame, they saw it all. They did not pluck their eyes out. They beat not their brains against the wall. Perhaps each watcher had it in his heart to pray a miracle. O Lord, and spare my skin this day.
Come now, and I will bring thee to their lairs. The privies, jakes, and pig pens, where the heirs of Hasmoneans lay, with trembling knees, concealed and cowering, the sons of the Maccabees, the seeds of saints, the scions of the lions, who crammed by scores in all the sanctuaries of their shame, so sanctified my name.
Beyond the suburbs go, and reach the burial ground. Let no man see thy going, attain that place alone. A place of sainted graves and martyr stone. Stand on the fresh-turned soil. There in the dismal corner, there in the shadowy nook, multitudinous eyes will look upon thee from the somber silence. The spirits of the martyrs are these souls, gathered together at long last beneath these rafters and in these ignoble holes.
See the slaughtered calves so smitten and so laid. Is there a price for their death? How shall that price be paid? Forgive ye, shamed of the earth, yours is a pauper lord. Poor was he during your life, and poorer still of late. When to my door you come to ask for your reward, I'll open wide. See, I've fallen from my high estate. I grieve for you, my children. My heart is sad for you. Your dead were vainly dead, and neither I nor you know why you died, or wherefore, for whom, nor by what laws. Your deaths are without reason.
Without reason.
Your lives are without cause.
Without cause.
How shall we grieve for the children of Kishinev?
What is the price to be paid?
Surely they didn't die in vain.
Are they forgotten? Does the world remember?
Questions without answers.
I might have an answer.
What is this? What kind of answer?
This book of black, it burns my hand. This story dark from a distant land. Come hither, follow, aloud it screams. Your head it'll fill with fevered dreams. You will behold a living hell, discordant chime of desolate bell, where shattered children drag their feet. Spirits unquiet in each menacing street, devoid of hope, their eyes are bleak. Not even vengeance do they seek. The memories fade. The bruises, pale as untold, withers their bitter tale.
Are there truly none to calm their fears, to hear their tales and dry their tears?
Why should we look to someone else For is this not our sacred creed? Why should we not fling out our arms to tightly clasp the ones who bleed?
Shall we go to Delhi then?
Seeking justice or revenge?
Will we rant? Will we rave? Will we hear it in every grave?
We shall do all that and more, this hoary tale of bristle and gore. And yes, before we can be free, a Kishinev knew we need to see.
You speak in riddles. A Kishinev knew there is but one beneath the sun, red with the blood of blameless Jews.
Oh, how I wish your words were true. But streams of blood of many hues flow from yawning pits of hate. And when those pitiless floods abate, Kishinevs sprout in their gory wake.
Heaving sighs, bitter tears, racking fears. What tongue is this, you'll ask, perturbed? No answer. None your ears will hear. For the spirits speak a language strange, which is far, far beyond your ken. It is the tongue of every ghost, of every maid and every crone, of every mother and every child whose innocent life and smiling eyes the savage sword of hate did blight. When I walk the streets of Delhi today, I still see blood mixed with the dust. Each silent stone does seem to say, scream out aloud, you must relive those terrible days of fear. Faces in the crowd seem to leer. Blood-soaked earth, it speaks to me. Are you so blind you cannot see? What is it here that I hope to find in these dusty alleys, forbidding, unkind?
He's a little Sikh boy. His name's Kultar. Lives in a place they call J.Mehr. See his smiling, cherubic face? He looks so cute. You can hardly tell. He's deaf and mute.
Just your average child from a poor home is on first glance, I am wont to say. I see him busy with his friends at play when the streets of Tuluk Bahar I roam.
Little Bilu, an elfin 9-year-old, plays hide and seek with our hero young. She's full of life, boisterous and bold, but sensitive too, quick to be stung. Oh, Bilu, the little precocious child, aglow in the warmth of love and care. Obedient, loving, sweet-tempered, mild. Her smile would hardest heart ensnare. Father's darling, mother's pet, the precious one in every way, like a star she shone.
What? Is that the same girl? It cannot be. Wicked illusion, what do my eyes see? Withered shell. Pale cheeks, sunken eyes, no signs of the old spark or even life. What caused all this? What kind of strife? What changed laughter
Ungid is older than both of them. A street urchin now, he was a gem. It's been 2 years since he went to school. He's into petty theft and plays the fool. Wants to grow up tough, be a macho man. Does boast one day people near and far will know of Ungid Singh of Talakbihar.
Under bluster and bravado hide he can, but those of you who've heard his screams do know for sure of his fearful dreams. Yes, Ungid Singh was a hardy lad, was good at times, sometimes was bad. You could see him running from his room, his mother chasing him with a broom, walked with a jump and a skip and a hop as he swaggered down the narrow street. As dear friends, strangers, he would greet, and to chat and joke with all he'd stop. But fate's been too cruel, chance unkind. The once gregarious lad is blind.
Sweet Rano, so fair, is a demure 19. Lucky she lives in her uncle's house. There was a time she was calm and serene. Now she's jumpier than a little mouse. She's a lovely little lady. Trifle sad. Rumor has it she might even be mad. She's always lost in her private thoughts. She winds her way through the rickety cots of the local hospital's dingy wards. She was finally able to find some work, soothing, chasing demons that lurk in infant minds ripped into shards.
Her body is young, eyes are old and wise. Sudden sound makes them widen in surprise.
You may well ask, what's all this about? What's so unique about this motley bunch? The deaf-mute boy, little girl, young lout. By now, my friends, you must have a hunch. A story we have to tell, indeed, it's true.
Talakbihar. Now you have a clue.
Clusters of houses, little shanty town in dull shades of gray and dirty brown. Blister in the face of that cruel land.
Like many others of its color and kind,
Destitution, poverty, and the daily grind.
Rub faces and dreams deep into the sand.
Oh, and what a story do we have to tell.
Burning passion, blind hate, and sanity's knell.
We begin to see that all is not well. Each child in the town has a tale to tell. Kultar plays on in the heat and dust, unaware of the peeping, prying eyes that want to pierce his innocent crust, and the ears that strain to hear his sighs. Kultar and Bilu are now playing house. Bilu is feeding her famished spouse, who's had a very long and tiring day, chopping wood or maybe stacking hay.
An amused Ungid, lolling in the chair, in the shade of filthy corner tea shop, laps tea from a saucer to the last drop. To each passerby shifts his sightless stare.
Summer afternoon, lazy, languorous long. Tea shop waiter sings an off-color song. Look down the street. What do we see? Dhoti-clad man trudges his way home. His back is hunched, he's bent of knee. Sweat glistens on his balding dome. On his back, he carries a box of soap. From his shoulder swings a heavy rope.
Busy with dinner, Kultar doesn't look up.
he and his wife, they play and suck.
Sudden movement makes our hero start and look at the stranger's bent back, the sinuous, sinister serpent black.
Face pales. Fear clutches at his heart. Emotions confused play on his face. The little boy, in a trance-like daze, gets excited. Painful memories stream. His palms tighten on his deaf ears. His lips do part in a soundless scream. His face it mirrors his darkest fears. The sight of the fibrous, twisted shape makes him tremble. uncontrollably shake. His head explodes. He goes back in time, a deathly dance in grotesque mime.
He grabs Bilu by the hand and they run away from their homes towards the square where in times forgotten, happier fair children would gather, have some fun, and laugh and play in the cooling shade of the towering banyans' natural arcade.
Turns to the tree, his shoulders heave. He looks like he's jumping up and down. Each fiber of his body seems to grieve. On his face, you can see a puzzled frown. Drags to the tree a most heavy load. Stops at every step to prod it and goad, and when it tries to fight him and to resist, he pounds on it with his feet and fist. Stretches his hand for an imagined rope and fashions from it a hangman's noose. Peers at it closely, checks if it's loose. Calls mates imaginary to help him cope with his struggling father as he slips the noose around his neck and trips. Kultar becomes his own father then. His eyes roll around. Legs do twitch. His agony, my friends, is beyond our ken. Lifeless body falls in the ditch. Eyes do bulge, and tongue does protrude. Legs leaden as from granite hewed, and thus does the little boy reprise his father's violent, tragic demise.
Rano is here. Trembling body lifts and carries him into the tea shop. Gently lets him in a corner drop. Sprinkled with water, up he sits.
Eyes shut tight. Keep out the fears.
Cheeks are wet with salty tears.
If only he could also shut his mind, banish his demons once and for all, erase the memories harsh and unkind that ravage his mind, tender and small.
Like a thunderclap, the news did break. Tears in their eyes, their hearts did ache.
They heard the widow been shot dead.
Gray-haired widow, with streak of black, imperious, immortal, no fear of attack.
Her body was cold. To the death she bled.
Violence she sowed, violence she reaped.
To them she was dear. Mother, they said. The only one who ever cared for them. Their goddess, fierce, proud nation's head. The only one who the rot could stem. They cared not about the web she spun with the help of her urbane and clean son. She'd done them good, was all they knew. Blind loyalty did their reason skew. She always got their faithful support, although without the sign of a qualm, she did decree their brethren's harm.
And still she got their precious vote.
To her they felt they owed a debt, and so they beat their breasts and wept.
Meanwhile, in a different part of town, far from the slums of Tuluk Bahar, flock in homage to the fallen crown, mourners and idlers from near and far.
Canards do fly, and rumors are rife about the bloody end to the widow's life.
The crowds get thicker, the mobs do swell, louder and louder sounds her knell. Politicians abound, every color and hue, like vultures drawn to a rotting corpse. The hypocrites pull out the stops, burst into wrenching sobs anew. Like a virus vial, this show of grief rages unchecked throughout her fief. In Tuluk Bahar, The mourners weep, scared, confused, dumbfounded, dazed, much like a frightened herd of sheep that mills without its shepherd, phased.
No, not, but of the gathering clouds that cover the sun like silent shrouds.
This storm of vengeance about to burst with an all-consuming bloody thirst.
How can they guess what is to pass? For are they not the faithful ones? Have they not, and their wives and sons, stood by the throne, steadfast unmasked?
The mother's dead. What's done is done. They look with hope to her only son.
Somewhere in the city, in a darkened room, the plotters gather and make their plans. They seek to spread mayhem and doom, to begin a surreal, murderous dance.
Deep, piercing eyes, thick tuft on chin, lyricist of gruesome song of sin.
Pot-bellied, thin hair, and glasses dark, face mottled with spots, and many a mark.
Trade union leader, minister to be, once rabble-rouser, political leader now. Before him, all the petty criminals bow. Is the last one of the notorious three.
From up above, their orders have come to teach a lesson to the arrogant scum.
Who dared defy and shake a fist at the power of the glorious crowd?
They must be made to recant, desist.
Their heads so proud they must hang down.
What better chance could there ever be of a brilliant, dazzling victory? The nation's shocked, now silent, still.
Plunder and kill till you've had your fill. Seek out the ones with beards and long hair. Loot their houses and rape their wives. Violate their daughters and take their lives. Cast them all into depths of despair. Teach them the price of raising their head. Pile the streets high with maimed and dead. Whoa!
Plans are ready, and the trio of doom, with its bloody blueprint in its sights, emerges in haste from the darkened room and summons the party's lesser lights.
City councilors and some local thugs. Their favorite troublemaking lugs.
The party's goons, its salaried sods, are the leaders of the killer squads.
All's ready. Groundwork has been set. The leaders are led to a meeting place. Excitement writ on each leering face. Waiting's over. The massacre's begun.
It's a golden chance, a proving ground for later favors are sure to
The
abound.
city's been divided into several parts, and each one is to a leader assigned. Each group towards its burrow starts to carry out its mission. Inhuman, unkind.
Of iron rods, sticks, knives, and spears, crude weapons of death, tridents fierce.
Gasoline filled, there are piles of cans that will soon set the whole city alight. It's an awe-inspiring, terrible sight as out towards its goal each convoy fans.
But wait. Everything's not quite set. Foot soldiers are to be recruited yet.
The columns of death slowly make their way to the outskirts of the new city slum, where the party holds unrivaled sway on the city's idol, Gelans and Mugam. Promises are made, plunder, rape, loot. Reprisals they know will be quite loose. Over their heads sits the party's head. Who can touch them throughout the land? The others moved to the little shanty towns who were built by the widow's younger son. Thousands of willing recruits are won for bloody juggernaut ready to pounce. Of murderous hoodlums there is a slew, ever eager to join the macabre crew.
The party, meanwhile, is hard at work, feeding more grist to the rumor mill of Sikhs who smirk
distribute sweets, and dance their fill. Rejoice openly at the widow's death, even as the nation holds its breath.
Cunning merchants of death and doom, how cleverly they did fire the loom.
Wove a net of falsehood, lies, and deceit. Apathetic eyes are to misery blind and are made by canard much more unkind. So the common citizen, man in the street, is ready to stand by and just look on as the party displays its crushing brawn.
The party's horrors that are now let loose unleash terror, death, mayhem, and abuse. The column's dust can be seen from afar as it thunders down.
Blood for blood! Blood for blood! Blood for blood!
Blood for blood, maddened mobs shout as from their trucks screaming emerge and begin their devastating purge. Like a herd of cattle, people mill about as they try to escape the avenging wrath of the fallen widow's posthumous bloodbath. Did it happen? I'm tempted to ask. Did men become such brutal beasts? A look at Kultar's face. Gray death mask. Brings visions back of devilish feasts.
Door splinters, breaks, there is a crash, a crowd of men, with blood in their eyes, with sticks and swinging clubs do smash, waste everything that in their path lies. Kultar knows not if he's awake or dreams. He opens his mouth and screams. What a blessing his silent vocal cords that hide him from the flashing swords. They take his father by his long hair, beat and kick him as they drag him out, hurl filthy abuse. Revenge, they shout. Neighbors, dazed, just stand and stare. His father fights, tries to break free as they drag him to the banyan tree. Once more, he sees the hangman's noose. It slipped around his father's neck. A neighbor at the ringleader's beck takes his father's dusty shoes. The rope is tossed up into the tree. A mighty heave, and his feet are free. Death doesn't come easy to the old man. He twists and twitches. His body shakes. The vile ones yank as hard as they can. They hear a loud snap. His neck breaks.
Kultar rides too on the dirty floor. Souls in a noose, he can't take more.
His mind's a wild animal in a cage. His little body has become a stage.
Each and every day, the drama of death is staged here for the world to see. Come one, come all, it's all for free. Do not stop now to catch your breath, for it's not over by far, there's more. So many tales. It's hard to keep score.
All over the city they loot and burn. Plunder, pillage, rape, torture, kill. The innocents have nowhere to turn. The mobs haven't yet had their fill.
Tilak the Har is just one of the names. The rest of the city, too, is in flames.
Proud community. Courage was its fame. Hangs down its head and weeps in shame.
The keepers of the law have run amok. Aid the mobs in their dastardly deed. Turn their backs on those who plead. Arrogantly, they taunt and mock. Yells and chants are heard from afar, mingled with the painful, agonized screams as the pogrom continues into Lakbahar. Brutality beyond our wildest dreams.
Breath in gasps. Eyes reflect her fears. Down her cheeks stream desperate tears. 4 times already the mob has come. Can't shut out its ugly, sinister hum.
4 times her father and brothers too rushed, brandishing their shining swords. 4 times repulsed the angry hordes, but then more came, and the mob grew. To hope for mercy, they cannot dare. Their eyes are shut in silent prayer. Even louder now is the terrible hum. Once again they pick up their swords. Urgent beat sounds on death drum. The river of reason the mob now fords. Launches its final murderous attack. Each man to the wall now has his back. They try to protect the ones they love. What courage, what valor, but God above, even he looks away or has shut his eyes. There are just too many. They do prevail. To pieces is hacked, each and every male. The women, mute, shocked, coward-like mice, their peril so urgent, acute and so real, of satanic laughter. They can hear appeal.
She's never been so afraid in her life. She's too young and innocent to comprehend. As they come to her, waving stick and knife, she thinks they'll kill her. This is the end.
Sweet Rana, don't bother to hold your breath. Pray harder yet, but for the boon of death. Don't fear the knife. Embrace it you must. It's all that lies between you and their lust. You're young, and you cannot even think. These are not men, but lust-crazed beasts. Tonight, you're one of their carnal feasts. There are depths where they've yet to see.
They circle around like beasts of prey. Her beautiful face is pallid, ashen, gray. All she can see is a huge circle of hands. Fingers that flex, squirm in lecherous glee. Big hands, small hands, dark hands, pale hands. On all of them, spots of blood she can see. The lascivious hands and their lewd dance. Realization comes to her in a single glance. She begins to tremble, frightfully shake, as a firm hold on her body the hands take. Her body is lifted up, high in the air by the hands, and carried to the next room. Oh, desperate day of pain, death, and doom. She struggles, kicks, weeps, tears at her hair. They toss her roughly on a rickety bed. A resounding blow she feels on her head. The hands get to work, do their cruel deed. Her innocent body shrinks in utter disgust. The maddened hands pick up terrible speed to maul the object of their bestial lust. Fearsome, feeding frenzy, without a hitch they tear it to shreds, each and every stitch feels the most violent, searing pain. And again, and again, and again, and again, by ravenous mouths the hands are joined, they bite and spit out her flesh and blood. Young, innocent body, pure and tender blood, violated and wasted. Her honor purloined, sated, spent. The beasts about her drool.
of raw, bubbling flesh. Her body a pool.
The women strike up a mournful dirge as more and more are put to death. Unabated continues the unholy purge. Don't even stop to catch their breath.
In the midst of the mob, Bilu sees a face familiar from another time and place.
For a friendly hand, the child does grope. On her face appears a dim ray of hope.
She says, "Uncle, you're my father's friend. Please save him, for he will die for sure. You know him well. You've shared food and more. How can you cast him off? Let his life end."
For her trouble, she gets a slap on her face, sends her to the ground in a painful daze.
Her father lies in the dust supine. They set on him with blows and kicks. His friend shouts loudest, "Kill the swine." And they beat him once more with sticks. A sobbing Bilu crawls through the band and takes her father's bloody hand. Looks around and sees a scene from hell. But wait, what is this horrible smell? Her father's clothes are suddenly wet. Stream of liquid is poured from a can. A deluge of gasoline covers the man. The terrified child, her father's pet, sobs turn to screams pitched even higher as they light a match. Set him on fire!
The child, still dazed from the hard blow, refuses to let go of her father's hand. Pain and grief dull her mind. She's slow. She gazes blankly, fails to understand.
Pull the child away. She must be mad.
We don't kill babies. We're not that bad.
Hands grasp her so hard they try, but they cannot. Fingers fry. Father and daughter, their bodies merge. They scream in unison, rhyme in concert, heart-rending sounds of pain and hurt. They kick her, scream, cajole her urge, but with a grip firm, deadlier than death, she hangs on till his very last breath.
Her little hand, the flames did char. Her eyebrows and her hair are burnt. Her face is the color of Kultar. The crowd silent. A lesson's learnt. Their heads do now hang down in shame. They thought this was some kind of game.
You callous cowards, angels of doom, in you too for shame is there room. Smoke from his body will become a ghoul and haunt you all. Today you die. To corners of the earth you may fly. You can't escape the stench so foul. Her pain will grow thousandfold. In your hearts, like cancer, take hold.
May you never have any happy dreams. May you never sleep the peaceful sleep. May you ever wake to the sounds of screams. May rotting guilt in your souls seep.
May the fires keep burning in your mind. May you never see joy or one act kind.
May your souls burn forever in hell. May your only music be the knell.
May your dreams be scattered to the wind. May your hopes be ground into the dust. May you, for forgiveness, forever lust. May you lie helpless, unmoving, pinned.
Under the weight of your terrible crimes, gruesome, unrivaled, even in these times.
The trio triumphant roam the streets, gloating at their successful plan. They marvel, applaud the deadly feats, encourage the mobs whenever they can. The murderers line up to get their fees, a bottle of liquor and 100 rupees. The union leader, like a general proud, jubilant smiles mingles with the crowd.
Few voices of reason are heard to plead. They carry lurid tales of the violence seen to the lackeys of the proud fallen queen. Help them, they beg. To death they bleed.
Proud inheritor of your mother's throne, forget not you're all mortal men. The seeds of violence that have been sown will sprout in each desert, hill, and glen.
They'll flower, and when fruit they bear, cloaks of lies they'll to shreds tear.
You don't know what evil you've done. You are the inheritor, fortunate son.
The tears and sighs of the wounded ones will come together in a terrible curse. Will go to you, and yours indeed do worse. The widowed wives and the orphaned sons.
Each and every day and night they'll pray. A measure of their pain you feel someday.
Her haughty son does this statement make.
When a great tree falls, earth does shake. Ungit is terrified, fears for his life. He cowers in his Hindu neighbor's house. Lajo, their neighbor's kindly old wife, hides him where they keep their cows. The boy peers out through a tiny crack. From there, he can see his own home's back. Street is quiet, weird, deathly calm. He's heard stories of horror and harm. His father's fled. Mother's all alone.
The brave old lady who knows no fear.
They won't touch me. I will stay here.
So she's left behind to guard the home.
They'll keep me safe. My hair is so gray.
You don't know them. Oh, please go away.
He hears a low, most unnatural sound. It's dark, he's almost gone to sleep. He jumps to the crack with a bound, rubs his weary eyes, bends to peep. By the field in which they played games, he can see the towers of mounting flames. By the flickering light, what does he see? A crowd of men. 1,000 there must be. Daddy the Gurkha, he's in the lead, his kukri raised above his head. He hacks at a shape. Is it alive or dead? Mob advances at a slow, menacing speed. A man with a list, in no obvious haste, points out homes to be laid to waste. His eyes are shut, he begins to pray as the mob continues its ominous march. He prays for a miracle. Let it go away.
but on it comes, it's now by the arch. To the floor in despair does Ungit drop. Behind his house, the mob comes to a stop. Despite his fright, he has to see more. He raises himself up from the floor. Their little shack has been set alight. It can't be true. He continues to stare as they drag his old mother by her hair. His heart lurches at her terrible plight. He knows that if he goes out, he's dead. Frustrated on the wall, he bangs his head like a bird that's by a snake entranced. He looks again with much fear and dread. His heart is by a burning stake lanced on her aging body. There isn't a shred. His soul is racked by shame and pain. On his conscience is a permanent stain. Wants to turn away, but is forced to watch. They violate the naked old body, debauch. Till a merciful soul, executioner kind, dagger swoops, whistling a mournful note, rush of blood, slits the woman's throat. A terrible peace falls upon his mind. At her death he grieves, but is also glad. They can do no more, her tormentor's mad. Stupefied, dumbfounded, he lies on the floor. Soul writhes in agony, he weeps and weeps. A part of him cringes, afraid there's more. Through his being, a terrible emotion sweeps. Slowly, fearfully, the boy opens his eyes. Terrible sight. In anguish out he cries. For his heart he tries with all his might. He can't shut out that terrible sight. Whichever way he turns his head and looks, he sees his mother's ravished body again. In his eyes he feels a most burning pain. Cruel memory in him deep as its hooks. The pain in his eyes grow more intense. Of time and place he loses all sense. Like the maddened king Oedipus of yore, when he happens to chance upon the truth, the boy's eyes too refuse to see more. Anything shall shut out that division uncouth. His hands rise towards each burning moon. Falls, collapses in a numb day's swoon.
When peace returns, Laja finds him thus, lying in a pool of his blood and pus. She screams out loud as she sees his face.
Well, once burned two shining coals, all she can see is a pair of black holes.
She shakes the boy right out of his daze.
Ungit gets up. Smiles a smile of peace. The vision has gone. The memory flees.
Yes, these are the children of Tuluk Bahar. These are the stories of blood and gore. In the corners of Delhi, near and far, go and ask. You're sure to hear many more. Each of these children is a living shell. each day, each lives in his private hell.
The ones that did all of this roam free, live under the leafy shade of the tree that was planted deep by the party's hand.
How can they touch their faithful dogs? The party machine's most valuable cogs whose writ does run throughout the land.
Your wounds are your own. Will never heal. Don't look to them for a soothing balm. They cannot feel what we feel. No demons in their heads, they're calm.
You may plead for justice until you die. There is no one to heed your desperate cry.
Pity me, sky. If a God is within you and a way to him I have not found, pray you for me.
My heart is dead. My lips mouth no prayer. Helpless. Hopeless. How long? How long? How much more?
Hangman, here's a throat slit. Cut my throat like a dog. You've an arm and an axe and the whole land for a block. We are few. No taboo on my blood. Crush the skull. Let the murdered blood of babes and crones spurt on your shirt and never be blotted out.
If there is justice, let it appear. But if it appear after annihilation,
Let his throne be raised. Sky shrivel in evil. Devils live in their filth till their own blood cleanse them.
A curse on the crier for revenge. Even Satan created no quittance for a small child's blood. Let the blood cleave the void, split the bottomless pit, eat away the dark and rot the foundations of the putrefying earth.
brothers and sisters, we hear you. Don't ever think that we'll forget. Sweet martyrs, we are in your debt. Millions more, they can hear you too.
Look in our eyes. Tears, pungent brine. Your resting place to us is a shrine.
Not warriors nor heroes, were you? Just common folk, from common stock. You did not ask for the martyr's brew that made you different from the flock.
You were meek. You sought not to lead. You had no wish to suffer or plead.
Was it destiny? Or a quirk of fate exalted you to this hallowed state?
The halls of martyrs that we send, nameless victims of turbulent times. What did you do? Commit what crimes to merit such a violent, inhuman end? Whose visions cause our blood to chill, make even relentless time stand still.
My friends, we come from places afar to lay roses at the shrines of Tulok Fahar. Each day we think of this gruesome deed forever. Forever, our hearts will bleed.
Your agony to us is a burning cross, and we will gladly bear it upon our back. Our memory will never loosen or slack. You'll shine always in history's dross. We'll never forget your terrible pain. Your suffering will not be in vain.
Turns the wheel of time, and thus do men behave. Anger rules. Oppression thrives. Corruption grave.
Everyone is the other now, of hate in all-consuming fire. Darkness dances all around as wisdom's cast upon the pyre.
The holy books, their precious words, lost in a storm of spite.
He will set foot on earth again. Everywhere will be light.
Gentle again, the wheel will turn, and evil will take flight. Into a million blazing suns, shattered will be the night.
Into a million blazing suns, shattered will be the night.